Hey guys, this is Brian with Dead Men's Tongues, and you are listening to the Heavy Mental Breakdown.
Where my mind goes is Pirates of the Caribbean or just pirates in
Yeah,
general. The famous quote is "Dead men tell no tales." So when I saw that name, I was like, I wonder if this is like a pirate metal band. That would be sick.
yeah.
It
And I
just put
think you
it
were
just
the
put me
first
right on a
person.
it just put me right on a pirate ship, and I was just like, it's
I love
kind
that.
of cold, it's dark outside, you have these battles going on with other pirates. I'm just like, this is like war fighting music. We'll see. I haven't listened to
Yeah,
this
man.
track yet, but we'll see.
Well, it's pretty
I
heavy. So
don't think that was something we thought at first. So I think one of the
Yeah,
reasons we picked it was because it sounded kind of dark and a little evil,
yeah.
and I think they're open to interpretation. I think there were there's like some references to literature and poetry that we thought were cool, but it's obviously can have a way more badass kind of twist. But I love that you got the pirate thing from it. So if you enjoy that, then hell yeah,
Yeah,
we can
that's what
crack
I'm gonna
on.
go with. You guys are
Yeah.
pirate core. That's your genre, pirate core. That's what I'm gonna go by for the rest
I don't
of.
think we could do that, man.
We need eye patches though.
You need eye patches. You need it all. It's so funny. I always ask people on here. I'm like, "What is your genre?" And everybody's just kind of gets,
Yeah, nobody knows.
nobody knows anymore. So like, I've just been making stuff up as we go. So you guys are pirate core. That's what I'm gonna go with.
I'll take
Eh.
it.
Okay.
So for anybody who doesn't know who Dead Men's Tongues are, what can you tell us about you guys? How long you been doing this, and where are you located at?
I think this is where I can kind of weigh in a bit. So this project's been going on, and for you guys, for the rest of the group, about a year. I recently joined, but me, our drummer Brian, and Seth have been playing music since we were like 12, 13 years old. So there's a lot of history there in terms of like learning our instruments and like developing like that really early stage of our musical journey. But I'll kind of kick it off to Brian again to talk a bit more about like how the band picked back up again. Because like yeah, like I said, me, Seth, and Brian knew each other for a long, long time. Brian is our drummer, by the way. We have two Brians in the band, so that can be a little confusing.
And Brian just got here. Welcome, Brian.
There he is. All right.
There he is.
Little late, guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So
No
so
worries.
yeah, kind of like touching on like how we started knowing each other. Like we literally were playing music in Brian's grandmother's attic when we were like 12,
Hell yeah. I
right?
think that's how we all got started, right? In some kind of basement or at our parents' house or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Garage.
We were always in the attic for some
Ah,
reason.
that's cool. That's cool.
it was like 1,000 degrees, 13-year-olds just dying up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we all started, just jamming and in the attic, like writing songs that we thought were cool at the time. Like at the time, I think we were super into like the new metal stuff, which I don't know. I still love new metal, so it's cool.
Who
but-
do you like? Who are some of your favorite new metal bands?
Well, so
Uh-oh.
Sepultura for sure. That was like I think the first song we actually all learned to play together was like a Sepultura song.
Nice.
But yeah, so like the history is definitely there. At least between me, Seth, and Brian, and then you know Brian Musto, our singer, he was kind of introduced a little later on, but I can kind of kick it off to him for that part.
Okay.
I met these guys at my old band, played a show with that band, and I think I'll try to be pretty crisp here. We don't got to go so far down memory lane, but I do remember like I came up from like the hardcore scene. I've been playing in bands in the hardcore scene for years, and I heard rumors about these group of young new metal kids who were like pretty good, and like everyone was talking shit about them, and I knew they just like they did this big tour in Europe, so I was like. I was interested. Like my band played with them, so I stood right in the front, and I was like, I'm gonna check these motherfuckers out.
Nice.
And they were good. And I remember I tried to talk to Seth, and he blew me off, and I was like, but they're dicks. So that is kind of my opinion leaving the show. The next day, they hit me up, emailed me, were like, do you want to come sing for us? And I was like, you guys want to tour? And they were like, that's all we want to do. I was like, let's do it. So
Hell yeah.
like literally, I mean, 3 months later, we were playing with Sworn Enemy and Blood Simple and I don't know, bands. A couple of months later, we were on tour in the East Coast. We met this guy from an indie label. A week later, we were signed. And it was just this like shot out of a cannon experience for like 2 years of like
Wow.
endless touring and just nonsense. But we were young and just, yeah, that kind of widened itself out, and like everybody kind of went in different directions for a number of years. And then, I mean, I think like I'll let everybody kind of weigh in on what that was like. But for me, it was like this journey as an adult, and this kind of ties into like why I think we were stoked on doing this podcast and like, you know, linking up with you. Is that journey was for me was like, it went down this pretty dark path for years after the band broke up. And I ended up, you know, between substances and just I would say risky life choices. It brought me to a pretty dark place eventually, where like, you know, you look in the mirror and you don't even know who you are anymore. And
Oh, yeah.
the person you see, you hate.
Yep.
And that kind of brought me to like this journey of like change. So, you know, I went down, you know, a lot of like soul searching and finding spirituality and trying to live a healthy life. And then, you know, we kind of came out of that and I was pretty happy with like the way things were going. But one thing was like always missing was like, I miss playing music. And that creative part was always kind of, there was just like something missing. No matter how good everything else got or how fulfilled I felt with other things, that was always missing. So like, and I wasn't really keen on like, I'm a pretty personal person and I didn't really want to just play with anybody again. So, you know, I kind of engineered a Friendsgiving and got us in a room, and it was the first time we were in the room in like, I don't know, 18 years together. But
Wow.
It was cool. It was like, yeah, it was cool. It was like nothing ever changed. And a year later, here we are. And, you know, we've got like 30 songs and we're getting after it again. But
So you're talking about
Yeah.
Here You Are. So where are you guys right now? What is your music? Are you guys writing music? I know you just put an EP out last year. Was that kind of the first introduction to the comeback?
yeah, so I think we did a single like straight away. I think it was one of the first songs we wrote. Recorded that, pushed that out, wrote a bunch more songs, got back in the studio, and we put out the EP I think in like the fall, like November-ish, guys, keep me honest.
Oh, this
So we
just
put that out.
recently came out.
Yeah, I think it was around Halloween.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Yeah, it was around Halloween, that's right, yeah.
Oh,
October, November
what a
timeframe.
perfect time to drop something like this.
Yeah, because now I remember
love it.
we were trying
I love
to
it.
line it
We
up
did
on
that
Halloween.
intentionally.
Yeah. Definitely. So how did the release of the EP go for you guys? I know it was probably a big emotional moment to kind of come back and put new music out and just make a comeback. Like, how did that feel putting it out, and how did people receive it?
In terms of like, you know, from a personal standpoint, releasing it was like we had done it so many times that part necessarily wasn't like, we know how that stuff goes. And we've learned at our age and our amount of time doing this, that we're pretty selfish about it. We're just doing it for us. If we all collectively say it's cool, that's literally the only thing we care about. Or, you know,
Having fun with it.
and that's exactly it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of already had our heads on straight in terms of what the perception of it would be. But with that said, most of our close friends, I think we're all, you know, it was a good response. I don't think, you know, outside of a couple online trolls and stuff like
There's always going to be those.
yeah, for sure. And you know, we're sort of from like the prehistoric lamb goat days, so we're used to all that stuff. That's you know, the new trolls are nothing compared to what they used to be. So it's no big deal. We're good on that stuff.
We have very thick skin.
You kind of have to, you know, like when you're in the arts, you kind of have to have it.
Oh yeah.
Or you just won't last. And
Yeah.
that's not like a negative thing on anybody.
No.
It's just kind of
No.
true.
Yeah,
That's
you'll
true,
crumble.
yeah. Especially in the metal world too. We've always kind of floated around we've been hard to. When we were younger, it was a little bit easier to paint us into a corner. But even if you go back and listen to it, if the guys mentioned the Valentine, the band that we were in together, it's kind of all over the place. Of course, at a very high level, it's hardcore, it's metal, it's this, it's whatever. But if you take a little bit more time to listen to it, it's kind of messier than that. There's like 800 influences you can hear if you listen for it.
Yeah.
So like we've always been in a space where we're kind of like, what are those guys? Are they straight up metal? Are they new metal? Are they hardcore? And that is kind of a symptom of all of just our different influences. You know what I mean? We're all different people. We all bring something different to the table.
Yeah, and that's great that you're pulling multiple influences, because I feel like in bands, they start off really strong and they start off with the style and they're kind of very strict on it, but then they want to get like different urges out, so they'll go do like a side project, or they do another band, and then it just kind of makes things a little messy. So when you're throwing everything you love at it, and you guys are just open and accepting that, and the key word, having fun with it, I think that's what keeps bands going.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, you know, we've talked about this before, like, you know, all as a collective, and when we look back at the stuff that we were writing when we were younger, it's like there was a lot of good ideas there, but it was like being able to kind of tame those ideas and actually make them like a song that's like takes you through like a narrative, you know. Like we joke about, we have like one song from our old band that literally the one song probably could have been like 5 songs. And I feel like just as like a bit more mature, you know, songwriters, we've been able to kind of hone that in, and like there's more of like a cohesive thought with the songwriting.
Yeah, I think it's cool because like there are elements that you can probably tie back to like the previous projects, which is cool, I think, if you really dig into it. But this is, I think, we're a much more mature lens now. And I think at this point, the one common theme is I think we all want to be heavy. So we're just, you know, we really, I think, want to cut out a lot of the nonsense. And that's kind of the bottom line, the common denominator between all of us and our influences, heaviness and a little bit more maturity to the product.
Alan, you had said something that I want to go back to really quick. You had said take them through a narrative. I think that's what you said. And the word narrative kind of caught my attention because I'm a script writer. I love writing stories and making things make sense and writing scripts. And is that one of your guys' approaches when you start to write songs? You start thinking about like an actual narrative, a story based on something? Or like how much of a writing narrative standpoint does your music and your lyrics come from?
I definitely think like, you know, as most people, you know, when we are writing music, it's all about just like, we're going to write a part, and then this part is everyone's super excited about it, right? So it kind of unfolds into a song, which we'll structure together. But I think the narrative piece really comes when we try to string it together in like if it's an EP or an album context. That's when like these like collection of songs can kind of be a little bit more of like the story.
Okay, so it's like the album as a whole. It's like it takes you through a journey throughout the album.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think like when I listen to music, that's usually how I, from a listener perspective, I'm like, obviously I get the most excited if I hear like a cool riff. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But then if you listen to the album as a whole, and you can kind of see where maybe that artist is taking you through an actual story,
almost kind of like a concept album.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like, you know, that's something that I look for as a listener. And like I know particularly drummer Brian, like we've always tried to kind of make, you know, if thinking of a song set list or even like an album track list, you don't want it to just be like song's over, next song.
Yeah. That story is done. Moving on to something else.
Yeah, I think if you can kind of put a collection of songs together that has a little bit of like some thought behind it, it just makes the result that much.
And I think because there's definitely a lot of us who love listening to an album as a whole. Like we'll like start doing something and we'll listen from track 1 all the way to the end. And I think the albums that kind of have this same mindset are the ones that are more fun to start from start to finish instead of going to track 4 or track 5, whatever it is. Those are just more enjoyable, in my opinion.
And that's kind of a leftover thing too from, we came out of the sort of end of the physical music side of things in terms of CDs, tapes, whatever, like the physical, not streaming side of things. And I never once, when I was younger, thought about a song in really isolation. I thought about the album as a whole. And Justice for All was a whole thing for me. It was not track 1, track 2, track 3.
Right.
There were certainly standout points, but I consumed the entire thing from the artwork to the first to the last track. So I think that we're like, that's something we're both adjusting to, but being stubborn about in terms of, the whole package we get, the way that people digest music, because we're guilty of doing it too, just sharing one specific track with each other or so forth. But yeah, good. Like I said, we just try to be, like Alan said, just be a little bit more thoughtful, give people something worth listening to that is the best that we possibly can. So. Yeah,
that's an interesting point. I've never thought about that actually. So that sparked a thing in my head of like, I definitely, like when I was growing up, it was CDs and cassettes, and it was kind of a hassle to like skip things sometimes, so it's just like I feel like growing up that was just us. Like let's put the CD in and just put it on, press play, and not have to worry about anything. And there wasn't really an issue with CDs, but it was like, but the tapes though, like you have to rewind it, and it became a whole thing. So I think when we grow up in that kind of time era, it's we have to listen to the first song. Like it's not really an option to skip it. And then when you go to like Spotify and iTunes, the top listen tracks are there, so people are just going to one song and have no clue where it even is on the album. Yeah, interesting.
I think, and this is just sort of a side note, but I think you could also tell people are writing for that style. Because back to the sort of cohesion, if you listen to not every band, but a lot of bands, you can hear they're testing the waters on certain tracks. They're seeing which one can kind of poke through that bubble, so to speak. So again, just in terms of the differences between listening to music when we were younger versus what it is now. But
yeah, it's definitely different.
Another aspect of like, we're talking about when we were younger, when you would buy physical media. Typically when I would buy something, I would want to listen to the whole thing. It's not like you buy it, I'm only going to listen to the single, right? And
they used to do that too. You used to just buy like the cassette single or the CD single, just have like one song on it.
It's like I paid for the record, I might as well.
Exactly. You're not streaming something and it costs you $10 a month. Like you're spending $15 on a CD, so you have to enjoy it. That's a good point. I like that.
Like I would do something where if I didn't like it the first time around, I would like try to like it 2, 3, 4 times.
Right.
Because it was like I didn't want to waste $15 on this record. I want to like it. But after like 2, 3 times, if I'm, I don't like it, I just don't like it. So
good old days. So you somebody had brought up the album cover. Or like liking to look at album artwork, or to even taking it that serious. So your album cover for this In Absence of Heaven EP it's interesting. It says Absence of Heaven, and then it looks like there's a demon or a monster, and there's no words on it. Your band name isn't on it. The name of the album's not on it. It's just, it is what it is. Why did you guys decide to go this route with it?
So that was less of a kind of creative statement and more of just a logistical thing, because we haven't printed anything physical. We knew it would just be digital. And if you look at, all of the streaming platforms, the band's name is there somewhere. The album name is somewhere. The song names are somewhere. So we just felt like, why even bother? Why even muck it up? The image we thought was rad enough, just leave it alone.
I agree.
Yep.
It makes you think.
The image makes a statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs much more. I think it catches people's eyes. So.
Yeah.
So what is that statement? What did you guys like? What when you were designing this? What did you want to have audiences kind of feel or think when they saw the album cover? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, it's like it's tough because a part of me wants to make up a story, but the reality is we just thought it was just a cool image. It's just as simple as that.
Okay, cool.
The title itself, that's a bit more of an interesting story because again, that was another situation where we sort of just strung some words together that we thought sounded cool. But if you read a lot of the lyrics and a lot of the ideas that we were all coming up with, kind of started to touch on this subject, on this religious sort of thing. And now I can only speak for myself. I'm not religious. I'm not anti-religious. I'm completely straight up the middle. When it comes to that stuff.
Okay.
But at our age, I think there was something spinning around in our heads that this topic kept coming up. And we never really came to a resolution about it. We didn't all sit around talking about it. But it was just sort of anecdotally pretty interesting that topic kept coming up.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for Brian Musto. You had said you found like a very spiritual path when you were kind of going through your stuff, and then this is called an absence of heaven. Does that at all have any kind of connection with this and finding spirituality and the absence of heaven? That just sounds like there's no hope. You know, there's no, I can't get out of this. I can't get through this. There is no, when I die, that's it. There is no heaven. Did any of this, did any of that artwork and the name kind of play into the spirituality and kind of coming out of that darkness?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you read the lyrics, there is a dark undertone to most of it. You know, when I don't always tie, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is how I look at it. I don't immediately tie spirituality to a god or something like that. Spirituality can mean something completely different, and I think you go on this kind of like spiritual, this journey for finding spirituality. It doesn't lead you to a god, or it doesn't lead you to something
enlightenment of self.
But I think in those dark moments, we're always wondering, where is this God? And even no matter who you are, what you believe in, when you're in those moments, you look up and you look for something. And I think, sometimes when we go through these dark moments, it's like, if there was a God, why are you putting me here? And I think a lot of this, the lyrics and the title kind of battle with that of, dark moments, dark times, and the balance between, is there really anything there? And I think that's something that, I'm interested in, that, I've kind of battled with that, I would say, for a long time. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think that reflects in a lot of the song lyrics and the title.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like I somewhat relate to the story because what kind of all really started this podcast is I had an attempt and I was almost not here, and that brought me down a very spiritual path on just like finding myself meditating. I had incense on all the time. I was just listening to like Buddhism music. I was even reading like Buddhist books and stuff for the longest time, and I'm like, I don't know what I believe, but this makes me feel good about myself. And if I kind of follow these set of rules, not from a god, not from a religious point, but just if I just kind of follow these rules, I think this suits me. It really did.
Yeah,
and it pulled me out of my head a little bit.
Yeah, man, I think that's key. I think finding those rules, those things that are going to bound you, that are guidelines for you to feel good and to be healthy and live that life. And that's part of that journey that I was kind of alluding to. And
I know that journey, man.
Defined by a god. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had my back and forth with it. After I lost my grandmother at age 18, my faith was just gone. It was just, how could you do this to me? But as the years have gone on, I've kind of acceptance. It is what it is. Anyway, So we are here because of a track called Smoke and Saints. And to me, when I hear that name, it almost seems like a heaven and hell. Why did you guys choose Smoke and Saints to break down instead of your other tracks? What does this one mean to you?
Big dog. I don't know. I'll let Seth kind of give some background on the song, and we can talk about the title too.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to get into the meaning and the lyrics, but kind of just surface level.
Break it down.
Yeah,
Surface level. All right. So, drugs are a big part of the creation of this band. You know, whether it's like directly or indirectly, like it all brought us all to where we are right now. So,
okay,
you know, it's basically, long story short, you know, drug use. It's a ballad of drug use.
Gotcha. Addiction and finding yourselves through those hard times, and I'm sure throughout those addictions, those issues, that's kind of when a lot of this spirituality, and because just trying to find hope, trying to find something to get you out of that, and it seems like you did. Right. So that's pretty fucking awesome. And now you're writing music that kind of reminds you of that part, but you're using that outlet for good and to get that shit out instead of going to a drug or going to a drink, going to your fucking guitar first, and that's sick.
Yep.
Love it. Yep. Cool. Well, like I said, I haven't heard this song yet, so I'm extremely excited to listen to it. And now having this background on you guys and knowing a little bit more of you as people, I'm stoked to dive into these lyrics and try to link all these things together. All right. This is Smoke and Saints by my new friends in Dead Men's Tongues. Let's break this track down. Just like what I was saying with like the name of the band, the album artwork, you guys have a very good way of bringing visuals to your stuff. A light flickers, the needle shivers. Like it puts me in a dark place, in a dark room, and the needle shivers. That puts me in a place of that drug addiction or those drug backgrounds that you were talking about. Souls sold and skin and bone. You did something to sell your soul, I guess, and you're not the person who you thought you were. You're just skin and bone. You're not stronger than you thought. You're not who you thought. You're literally just skin and bone because you've sold your soul to something really bad for you. We lost our way home. You're just lost. Pulse the prayer to God. I don't know about that one. Show me home. Dreams don't fight. I like that line. Dreams don't fight. Because we can easily give up on our dreams and just lose it. It's not going to come back to you. It's not going to come back. Shoot for peace, buried in the light. You're hoping for peace, but there is no light because you're buried in the ground or something. You're done, buried in the light. What does these two parts mean to you guys? Where is this coming from?
The shoot for peace.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of just an ode to, shooting heroin. There was no twist on words. That one was very direct.
Okay.
It's up for interpretation.
There's definitely some fastballs down the middle in this one.
Yeah, shoot for interesting. And so it was from the needle.
Yeah, once you sort of unlock the key, the song becomes extremely clear.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just like, I've been here since we wrote it, but I didn't know it was that ambiguous. I thought it was pretty direct. But
yeah,
I guess
souls sold in skin and bones. That just makes me like you're giving into it. You've sold your soul kind of to this thing. You've accepted that this is who you are. And you've kind of like sold your soul to the kind of positive paths in life. This is who I am, and I've accepted this is who I am. Because I've been there with addictions. I'm just like, I don't think I'll ever get over this. And I just felt like I sold my soul to that drug, and I was just skin and bone. I didn't know how to. I didn't know. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the one thing to keep in mind as we read this too, and I think it's important, just to put into context that this is coming from real life experience. This isn't an abstract thought. We're using words creatively to describe a situation, but this is a real feeling that, I don't want to call them out, but this is feelings that Seth had himself. These are not, again, like an idea we're talking about. It just makes it that much heavier, and it makes it that much more, serious isn't maybe the right word, but that's how it feels to me. So when I hear these words, I've been friends with Seth for more than half my life at this point. It means a lot to me, both from, feeling that sadness, that hopelessness for him. But then on the flip side, it's really important to say, we're really proud of him of where he's at now. This was a moment in time. This is how he felt before. It's not how he feels now. He's in an extremely good spot, and we're all super duper proud of him and where he's at.
Hell yeah.
Everything he does. So it's important to just put that all in the context.
Hell yeah. Seth, how does that make you feel hearing that?
That's great. It could have easily gone another way, but it did not. And here we are.
You turn to the music. You turn to writing. The pulse the prayer to the God. What does that one mean? Pulse the prayer. Is that trying to find is that trying to find life in something that you don't really believe in or you're confused on?
I don't want to speak for Seth, but and I'll let him add to it. But I think in this line, the God is the drug.
Yeah.
So that's
interesting.
We've succumbed to the one and only God there.
Yeah, because when you're in that place, that's all you can see. And so to pull yourself out of that is an extremely hard and rough thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Show me home. I just want to go back to a better place. Dreams don't fight. If I lose myself, then that's it. I feel like, yes, I can totally see everything you guys are talking about when it comes to the pulse and the shoot for peace and the needle shivers. I see that. But I also see this just losing yourself into something. It doesn't even need to be drug related. It can be a career, a relationship, really anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
depression.
think that's the beauty of just like artwork and songwriting is people can, reflect to it and kind of engage with it in, whatever way it might be personal to them. I mean, this is written, like Brian said, from like a real life personal way, you know, and with Seth's like own experiences. But I think, you know, you or anyone else, I don't think they need to have that actual experience to also be able to relate to the song and the lyrics.
Yeah.
It could really mean anything. Anything could be that drug, right? And you could put you in that place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anything can be a drug. I like that. Something you know is bad for you, but you do it anyway.
People tend to like gravitate towards things they know they're not supposed to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
You know, one thing like I found in like life in general is like you can sort of normalize trauma, and that's like sort of where you stay.
Yeah.
And you know, that's like part of getting together with these guys and writing music is that I think all of us, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but it feels like all of us are in just such different a good place in our life, you know, from where we were, that like we're able to sort of like talk about past traumas and put that in something productive and create.
Yeah.
But you know, even speaking for myself, like it's being able to normalize trauma and normalize being in some sort of like manic state. I think that's a lot of something that a lot of people have to deal with. So like obviously the song is written from Seth's experience, but something to kind of note there, right? It's like a lot of people going through whatever they're going to go through can tend to kind of stay there because it becomes normalized, or they stay gravitating towards what they know is not good for them.
I'm going to share a little bit of a personal story where what you just said sparked something and it made me see the lyrics a little differently, actually. So I'm bipolar, and you talk about manic episodes, and I know exactly what that is. I know the anger, the depression, the mood swings, all of it, and we lost our way home. When I'm in that, I'm in it. It's an actual like chemically wired thing that you have no control over. And dreams don't fight. I wish I can. I always wish I can just do or say something to get me out of that. Remember my dreams. Remember what I'm fighting for. But when I'm in that place, I feel like I'm not seen, or I am seen, but I'm kind of buried in this light. Like I'm not as bright as I should be, and I'm not who I usually am. Buried in the light.
I think you said one key word there that differentiates and is control. I think when you are in this thing, there's no control. You don't feel like you have the option to say, all right, not today.
Right.
And I think this song, the lyrics, when you get into that chorus part, it's really about just like, this is home. You know, I'm going home.
Finding peace in the panic almost.
Yeah, you're finding peace. Yeah, that is the peace now. Like that is your home, and you don't have the option. You don't have the control. You've given up control now to this thing. And I think that's powerful, man.
It is. Show me home. That bad place was home. That hit a little different.
There you go. There you go.
Interesting. This one's making me think. There's a lot of different ways to go with this track. I love it. Okay, cool. Well, let's keep listening. Let's keep rocking out to this. Now knowing what you guys are talking about. Choke, choke on your prayer. Chosen one. Chosen one usually relates to something good, I think. You know, it's like you're the chosen one. You hold the power here. So choke on that. Choke on your prayer, chosen one. You know, yeah, it's almost like you know you're not a chosen one. And every time you try to get out of it, it's almost like it's a metaphor for just like words. Well, choke on your prayer as words. So choke on your own words, you chosen one. This is church. This is what I believe in. This is the me that I believe in. I'm a chosen one in this path, in the wrong path. You view church as a place that you escape to find peace in that bad place. Where I am the sun. I belong here. Smoke and saints fade away. And I'm still going to take that to what I was talking about earlier, like hell and heaven. Smoke and saints fade away. There's just nothing. Everything is gone. Chase the vein always remains. Everything is gone, but you can always go back to that needle and put it in your vein.
Yeah, if the drug is the God, that whole world is the church. You're in the church.
Yeah.
There's only one way to pray.
And it's almost like when you say church, you find other people who are like-minded. And so even the people you're around are engaged in this too. And so like when you get together and you're all talking about things, it's like that's your church, your safe place. Because these people aren't really judging you because they're doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
Or choke on your prayer, chosen one.
Where
I kind of go with it too is choke on your prayer, chosen one. It's almost like telling somebody who's trying to help you to fuck off.
Yeah.
It's like if there's someone in church or if there's someone like praying or someone speaking to you this way, they might see their self as a chosen one, and they feel like they can give you this knowledge and give you these ideas of how to save yourself. But it's like, fuck you. That's not what I want. I'd rather sit in this because it's more comfortable. So fuck your prayers. I don't want them.
Yeah, I think that there's like you can hear the judgmental tone in it.
Yeah,
push back on that judgmental, but I think you could also flip it and say it to yourself. You yourself are praying to get out of this. You yourself have chosen to put yourself in this situation. You're saying to yourself, choke on your prayer, chosen one, to yourself. You feel like you don't deserve this, you don't have that. So it's a bit of a more of a self-reflective thing, looking at the mirror type of thing. You know what I mean? And it's a bit self-defeating, certainly. It's again, I can't speak for Seth but when I hear that, and when I read those lyrics, and when I think about my own experiences in the world, that's where my mind went to. You know what I mean? It's this you're because there's a part of this that, like Seth was just mentioning, in terms of like you can't help escape the feeling that you chose to be here, you chose to do this, although things around you have brought on certain situations and things, whatever, but you ultimately made your bed. Now you have to lay in it.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a hard love on yourself. You know what I mean? To say those words to yourself. You know what I mean? In a moment that's like that. That's how I interpret it myself. So
I want to say one thing real quick, and then I want to hear from Chris. I haven't heard his voice yet. I mean, I haven't heard his voice too much, and I miss it. So I'm going to go back to you in a second, Chris. But one thing I wanted to talk about that you just said, Brian, that sparked something. Chosen one, and you are the one who chose this. So I think when people hear chosen one, or some people, I did, when I hear chosen one, like I think about someone who's accomplished something big, highly connected with faith and you've been a chosen one, or you can look at it as if I'm the one who chose this, but not like a chosen one, but someone who chose this path.
Yeah.
There's two different ways of looking at that too.
Yeah, and like again, just from
Interesting.
strictly a personal standpoint, I definitely took it as more of a almost making fun of yourself. Oh, you think you're so special. You think you're so this, you're so that. Choke on those prayers. Oh, you're begging to get out of this? Well, here you go. Here's your, you know what I mean? You made your bed, now you lay in. It's kind of like the overarching concept that that's how I take that set of lyrics specifically.
Chris, when you first heard these lyrics, or you first heard this track, or you know whatever it was, like when you first were introduced to this idea, where was your mind at?
Yeah, so kind of even to take it back to what Alan had said in the beginning of where this band started, right? Like, I was not in the band with the guys. I never was. I'm slightly older now that we're all older. I'm like 5 years older than most of the rest of the guys. It doesn't seem like a lot now that we're adults, but back then,
Sure.
You're
the one buying alcohol for everyone.
So
we were actually all
like,
straight edge.
Okay.
It was one of those things like these guys were the young bucks in our local scene, right? And like I watched these guys, so I came from a place of being just a fan of this band, like their older bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
And you know, like I saw them kind of grow. I saw them start to go through a lot of that. I saw also when a lot of the stuff kind of started to happen and the bands broke up and they all went their separate ways. I've been kept in contact with Bry pretty much off and on for a while. We've attempted to do bands here and there. Nothing really ever seemed to click at the time. Nothing was ever really the right time. And when I was brought back into this, a lot of it was because I had like been brought in with knowing that we were like kind of coming out the rest of the guys were kind of coming out the other side and everything. So that's where I kind of I know where the lyrics come from. I didn't really have like a drug experience necessarily of my own. Like I've kind of stayed away from it, but that's partially also because like I come from a family where that's pretty bad, so I've just avoided it. For me, it kind of takes on. I've struggled with depression a lot, so for me, a lot of the metaphors of like the dark room and living in that and kind of wallowing in that. Yeah, I've always kind of stayed in that area. I'm medicated now, so I'm on the other side of that. But when you were talking the depression part and being kind of in that manic end, there was a long period of time I kind of would like just lay in a dark room, literally, and like not be able to move.
Buried.
Yeah.
Buried in the darkness, almost. Not in the light. Buried in the darkness.
So this one takes on less of like a chemical dependency song for me, and more of just struggling.
Me too.
With mental health on my for real. Like it's.
Show me home. I want to go to a better place. I want to go back to a better time. Not this depression that's going through my head right now. I need the peace. Show me the peace. I have a question, but I'm gonna wait until we finish this track. So there's not really any new lyrics here, but I want to write this track out. So I say we listen to the rest of the track and then we'll chat for a bit afterwards. need to talk to you guys. Well, that's not Tower in the Tide. That was Smoke and Saints by Dead Men's Tongues. There's a lot of different ways to go with this track. But I have an observation that I wanted to make. So there was a point in there. Where were those lyrics at? The Show Me Home. No. The Shoot for Peace, Show Me Home. The way that the music was structured there, and like it kept repeating that, and the words were repeated. It took me to like a dizzy place for some reason. It was like a cycle almost of like you're hearing the same thing in the background, but the words are changing. And it puts you in kind of like a confusing place and not knowing really where to go. That the music and the way the lyrics and how that was all structured right there, it made me feel dizzy. And I like how it faded out, and then it felt very cinematic after that. And I want to go back to that narrative that Alan was talking about. It was narrative, and it was very intentional it felt like a spiral, like at the end of doing drugs or at the end of drinking, like you've had too much and now you're kind of just spiraling. And then the way that it went out very cinematically with different kind of instruments. It put me like I've been saying this whole time, like you're all this gives me a visual, and it puts me right in it, even down to the structure of the song.
I think I like how you touched on cinematics, because I think for me as like a listener, I really look to like sometimes like movie scores and how like
there it is,
so much interesting like
there it is. I knew it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about this years ago.
Yeah.
Brian, where like the score for like Requiem for a Dream is so like
sick. I love that score. I'm a big movie score fan too.
Yeah, and I think back to like that narrative piece. When writing music, being able to kind of trickle in little bits of that, it helps create that that story.
Yeah, and it wasn't like over the top, and it's like, oh, this song has totally changed to something different. It was just this small little undertone to end the song. It was like you're coming down from the high, but you were just spinning, you were just lost, you didn't know what way to go, and this was almost like I have found it now, but I don't know if it was good or bad. I don't know if I found the light or if I went the opposite way. It kind of made me think at the end.
And there was an element of kind of the design of that, because a lot of those elements in the fading out and the outro are in the intro. It's just we emphasize levels a little differently.
Okay.
And part of that was to kind of bring it back to the beginning of the song. Like that was kind of an intentional part of it, of like as it's fading out. To me, I take parts of it as kind of a hope. Like, I don't get as dizzy with it. I can see where you're coming from with that. For me, it's like as it's fading out and you're kind of repeating that mantra to yourself of "Show me home." To me, it kind of is taking on that you're turning the corner, but the kind of rise and sudden stop again. Whatever that next door is.
Right. It can go. You can look at that last part either way. To me, it felt like kind of like a creeping death or something like that, or like you're on your final breaths after you just. It's like that circle to. That part I was telling you about, it's almost like now you're spiraling and this is it. You're done. I've been buried in the light. I've lost my way. I'm just skin and bones. And that needle that shivered. turn my light out almost. A light flickers, and it's almost like the light is out now. There is no more flicker.
I don't think the song's supposed to
Maybe
end
that
with
was a
lot of hope.
stretch. Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's very
think
dark. It's very, very dark.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
the way
ends
that
up
it
mostly
ended, I can
fine.
almost see it though as a hope. And like that's what you were saying, Chris.
And
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, and I think it's a a real strange phenomenon that all of us sort of metalheads kind of subconsciously get is like all this dark stuff is a release of this. You know what I mean? This
Right,
is
right.
not our sort of demeanor on a given day when we're out hanging out and having a good old time, right? Like this is like this is where we get that stuff out. This is where you
Yeah.
kind of get all on sort of the line there. So like a lot of these themes actually come out a lot more subconsciously than you would sort of. Seth and I certainly didn't sit around talking about like how to make this song that really sounds like I was just using dope or something like that, right? Like
Yeah.
it was just like, hey, this is a really cool riff. Our sort of tastes always go towards that kind of dark place. But once you start talking about it in the context that we are, you do start to put the pieces of the puzzle together here where it's like, wow, okay. There's a lot more subconscious stuff happening here than it's a conscious effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To kind of paint those pictures.
And
think in the
I
writing
totally
process,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think in the writing process, like, we always start with like a riff and then the music and then the vocals, right? I think for like the lyrics, kind of getting that piece of it, you do kind of start to write the lyrics to some degree and manipulate the lyrics to match the tone of the song or the vibe of the song. I do think you get this creative inspiration lyrically when you see how the song kind of went, and you might have an idea in your head, but how the lyrics come out with that idea really, I think, start to match the song a little bit. And I think that really is kind of what you're talking about here a little bit, of the vibe of the song and the lyrics and all kind of riding out. I think it was just very organic, just in the writing process.
I want to go back to something that Alan said. You had mentioned Requiem for a Dream. And the way that movie ends, there's really no hope at the end of that. But at the end of that movie, it's like this montage of just all these people coming to an end, like the mom and Jared Leto, and it just like him shooting up because just not wanting to deal with any of this anymore. There was definitely that very fast, flashy montage at the end of that movie, and I kind of felt that a little bit in the spiral that I was telling you. There's just like all these images were kind of going in my head. And right when you said Requiem for a Dream and like the needle, like I'm just like, oh shit. That just kind of put a lot of that together.
It's kind I didn't even think about the connection between that film and this actual song.
Yeah.
There's certainly a lot of connections there.
There definitely is. I see now a new visual is Jared Leto in the hospital. Wow. Maybe that's just another like subconscious thing. Like maybe you were listening to that album one day, and like some of this stuff just came, and when you came to write it, you're like, "Oh, this is in my head right now."
This is always in the back of my head.
That's who will get to play Seth in the movie is Jared Leto.
The sequel.
Yeah, this is cool. This is cool. So I think a very important question that I want to ask right now is something that somebody said earlier, and you guys are all in a good place or a better place than where you were when you wrote this. How did it feel?
I don't know. I mean, we wrote this I don't know, 8 months ago. I think it was written from reference points of a dark place.
Right, exactly. So but my next question was going to be, so since you were out of that place and you're in a good place now, how did it feel to kind of step back into that mindset and have all these feelings kind of rush back and then release it to the world and be like, this is what I was going through? How did this kind of full circle feel for you guys? Kind of in that bad place, good place, but now you have to snap back into that bad place and release it to the world? How does all that feel?
So it's definitely not like a recent thing because I've been in a good place for going on like 10 years plus now.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, but I wouldn't say like how does it feel like stepping back, because you're never really stepping back because it's always like kind of present in the forefront. Like it never really leaves.
Right.
Like, so I mean, stepping back kind of wasn't a thing because it never really leaves. It's always there.
More of like a mindset though, because I feel like when you go in a studio, you go in a booth, and you have to like give this presentation of this song, you kind of in a way have to go back to that mindset though, right?
Yeah, I guess you could touch
Try
on
to
it.
feel those feelings
like,
again, and
yeah, different ways, I guess.
yeah. And somebody said in the very beginning too that you all have had some kind of not, it wasn't addiction, but it was some kind of trauma. Everybody kind of had a trauma that kind of made this song come together. So I guess the question also is for everybody else too, not just Seth, but like when this song came out, knowing just the weight behind it and the stories behind it, like just for you guys personally, like how does this feel, like kind of going through this song and breaking this down like this, and just everything that we've said so far now that it's out?
Yeah, for me, this song I think is a representation of sort of like when we all went our separate ways many years ago. But the positive aspect is that like we're back together, as a group of friends and guys making music together. So that's like I almost like kind of find myself thinking, I can't believe that I'm back with these guys making music because of our past and like some of the things that happened in the past. So when I hear a song, like this one, it's a reminder of what we had gone through as friends, had gone through as a band. But at the same time, I'm like grateful that years and years later we're able to kind of pick it up, and it's like no time had passed type of a thing. Even
This song's almost like your guys' trophy in a way.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's really ironic too, because when you talk about these lyrics again, like it's just worth repeating that I hear those words and I understand it on paper. It's a creative metaphor for saying X, Y, and Z, but I know exactly what Seth is talking.
Yeah,
I know precisely what he's talking about with no funny, pretty words or anything about it. No creativeness behind it at all. So when the collection of all this comes together, we get a song together, we're jamming, we're playing that. It makes me so happy.
I'm I
so
bet.
Proud. So it's
Fuck
this
yeah.
thing, but it blossoms out into this beautiful thing at the end. So there's a lot of irony in that. But again, it just goes back to sort of this like this form of music it's like that's where we get that stuff out. It's in the art, it's in the craft, it's in that part of things where you kind of put all that stuff into. So it's the darker the better almost when it comes to the weight of it.
Right. That's a weird way of looking at it too. It's interesting. It's very interesting. And something else that you had said, Brian B, earlier was, I don't remember exactly what, but it was almost like you said this is your place to get it out. This is your therapy almost. Like when you guys are all together and there's shared trauma. I mean, just having friends that share trauma, that can create really great bonds, And with it being your band and band practice and writing things and coming up with creative things, I mean, there really is no better therapy than that.
Yeah, and that's been, so I don't know how far the guys sort of went back, but Seth and Alan and I have been playing music together since we were literal children. We were just over maybe 12 and 13 years old when we first started playing music together. So for us, that's literally what it's been. It's been an escape. It's been an absolute escape. That was our safe place. That was the, I mean, that's what kept us, especially at the time, away from all the crazy stuff that we could have gotten into, being where we were from, and all the things that sort of surrounded us. So it was literally an escape. A healthy thing to do, to put that energy into. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. The power of
funny,
music.
Brian. The band when it was my escape too.
Yeah.
And when we stopped playing and I didn't have that anymore, that's when I found things that were not healthy escapes.
Yeah.
And
It's because that passion's gone. You know what I mean? Like that love of creating, that creative. It's a different kind of love. It's a different kind of necessity that you have to get out, or it drives you nuts. And it feels like there's something missing.
Yeah, I think every person who has sort of an artistic side to them has that general unsettledness in them. Speaking just purely from my standpoint, I'm into all creative endeavors. I'll do every single one. I'll paint a picture. I'll do pottery. I don't care what it is. I'll do them all. Because I'm essentially never satisfied.
Right. I get it.
Never been creative enough. When the song is done, I need 5 more. It's just never enough. So either the
I
hope
get it.
is in life that you can keep it contained to something where there's a positive outcome. You know what I mean? Where it's like, drive yourself nuts with doing more paintings and all that stuff. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. One thing that I want to ask, and I don't know if it's going to make any sense. I've never asked this question on the podcast before, so I don't know how you guys would react to it. I might just cut it out. I don't know. But I love the story that most of you have been making music since you were kids. And you guys have seen the growth of each other. Not just the band, but the growth of each other. What do you think you would think about this song if you heard it as a kid?
Oh man.
And you knew that this song was about the future that you were going to go through, but knowing you were going to get through it.
Yeah, that's a wild one.
Yeah.
Look at those guys and be like, let's definitely not do that.
Don't do that. Stay away from that.
Yeah, I think the subject matter, I probably at that time, like I said, was too young to really wrap my head around. We were all surrounded by that. We came from an area that was sort of not the worst place in the world, but not the nicest place in the world. So it was, drug addiction, all that sort of stuff we were introduced to all that stuff very early on. That wasn't a new thing. But in terms of like what our younger selves would have thought, that's a really, because at least from my perspective, when I'm writing music, that's exactly who I'm writing the song for. I'm not writing it for someone else. I'm thinking strictly of 14-year-old me sitting around with Janko jeans on, listening to Slipknot. What would he say about this song? What would he think about this song? So it's like, I don't know if he'd be into it, but I hope he is, because that's who I'm thinking of.
It's so interesting. Like, for some reason, I just felt like there was something connected to childhood in this. I don't know why. Like I said, I've never asked this question before, but something made me think, hey, ask them this question.
It's insane to think about. It just it literally is. We've been together for so long, so many years have passed, so much stuff has kind of gone on both in our personal lives and together. It's an insane sort of story, but it's something that I'm just super grateful for, because just like any sort of long-term relationship, you hit a certain point where it's completely transformative. It's no longer about make a song, write it, go on tour, all that stuff. It's strictly about the connection to each other. That's the real thing that's happening here. The song and all that stuff is just a byproduct of that connection.
Right.
Playing a show, doing all these things, that's all just a byproduct of it. We've never been in a space where we've looked at playing together as no one ever had any self-interest in doing this on their own and going out and making it big on their own. I never had any sort of I literally started playing the drums because that just like convinced me to do it. I didn't even really want to be a drummer. It was like, dude, you should play drums. And I'm like, oh, all right, that sounds cool. I don't know, sure.
Brian actually taught me how to play guitar.
It's a
You guys are inspiring each other. That's good.
Exactly. So it's like, so that sort of connection that we have, you sort of can't replace it. And it comes, it shows in all sorts of funny ways, but even writing these songs, I mean, it's like, it's so natural. No one's sitting around talking about it. We're not hypothesizing. We're not strategizing. We just do it. It just do it. It falls right in line like we used to. So it's really an amazing thing.
And talking about full circle moments, because that's what this song took me to. But also now looking at like just your band in high school and what you guys are at now, like it sucks you went through all this, but it's what brought you back together.
Yeah, that's right.
Like this album wouldn't exist.
That's right.
Maybe this band wouldn't even be around if you guys didn't go through that crazy stuff.
Yep.
And it kind of takes me back to spirituality. I kind of feel like sometimes things happen for a reason. I don't know really what I believe in, but sometimes I do think that things happen for a reason, and there is something spiritual. There is something stronger. And Brian Musto, you sparked that idea in me too. Interesting. This is a fun story.
We got a lot more.
All right. Well, thank you for opening up about this track and your guys' stories. Not an easy thing to do, so I appreciate it. So kind of changing the subject a little bit. So what does 2026 have in store for you guys? A new EP, a full album, shows. What does 2026 look like?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's shows. We got the show coming up, which we're super stoked about. It's our first show that I think most of us outside of Alan have played in a super long time. So that we're stoked about. I'm writing more songs. I'm hopefully putting some more stuff out in no particular order.
Yeah. Because Brian Musto, you had said, I like calling you by your full name. I'm just going to do that going forward. Brian Musto, you had said you guys had like 30 tracks. You're sitting on some stuff. So that means you have to get it out.
Yeah, we definitely do. So I think we're trying to figure it. I mean, we're just writing, and I think we're ready to start playing a lot more. Like Brian said, I don't think we're sitting around anymore like, all right, this is the path to the to the top or anything like that. I think we're enjoying the ride. I think the writing has been the most therapeutic thing in this part of the journey. But now I think we're at the point where I think we really want to like kind of share some of this stuff with people, and we start really like engage with people a lot more. So I think the name of the ready for I think right now we just want to get out there and we just want to get out and make some hits and just play a lot, keep writing. And I think there's definitely another recording. It's imminent. I don't know if it's gonna be an EP. I don't know. We got to figure out the details of it. But there's another recording of those 30 tracks. There's definitely something else coming out probably later this year. But we're just enjoying the ride, man. I think that's really the most important thing is we're going to have fun this year.
Have fun with it. Yeah. So if somebody were to come up to you, Brian Musto, and say, hey, where's the best place to keep track of everything Dead Men's Tongues? Where would you send them? Or anybody? I just wanted to say the full name again. But anybody. if someone asked you, where's the best place to go to keep up with everything DMT, where would you send them?
I'd send them to Alan's house. He can show you around. He likes to.
I would. Track and like. I would rather go to Chris's house because I didn't notice. I didn't catch this till later. But you got a haunted mansion stretching portrait behind you.
Yeah.
I'm just like, maybe there's some haunted mansion stuff going on. Maybe we can ride some dune buggies and go to Disneyland together, whatever you want to do. I'm going to Chris's house actually.
Chris actually lives in a haunted man.
Amazing.
It's kind of true.
Do you really?
I do. I live in an old school, so like that rope, that's the school bell.
Oh, you live in an old school.
Yeah.
Huh.
Literally, like 100-year-old school. So.
Okay, I'm going to your house because I feel like that's a whole different story. That's a whole different podcast, but we'll talk about that one later.
Yeah. You might not come out though, man. I'll be honest with you. I'll stay here. But to answer your question, I don't know, man. I think like we're probably pushing updates on Instagram at Dead Men's Tongues. We have a site really, but
got some sick merch.
Yeah, I got the merch store up, so feel free to check that out. But if you were looking for information, where to see us, updates on new songs and material, Alan giving tours of his bedroom, listening to Deftones, all that shit. Probably Instagram, I think, is where we're most active.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that handle?
At Dead Men's Tongues. We got it.
Couldn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it any easier. Well, guys, I think that's about it for now. I'm ready to dive into the rest of the tracks here, because if this one is the way that it is, I think I'll be here all night looking at the lyrics for the other songs and trying to figure things out. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, when you guys have new music, or if you want to do this again at some point, this was fun, and I think there's a lot going on in your guys' heads to digest. So I'm interested. Tower in the Tide, etched in gold, but the one that I'm interested in is in his scriptures. That's the one that I'm
There's
interested
a theme
in.
coming up again.
Yeah.
You might like that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna listen to that one, and I'm gonna let you know what I think of it.
Nice.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
I'll be all over the place. I'll send you like a 10-minute long voice memo breaking down all the courses and the verses. And you're like,
oh yeah.
thank you guys so much for opening up. It's not an easy thing to do, but you did it. And it was great. It was a great.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks,
awesome.
man.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.